Hey everyone, I'm Armor Gaming, welcome back to my channel and welcome to Monster Legend videos, and today we're going to be talking about the Yamada event. So start collecting scrolls. To have a chance of obtaining the next premier monster Yamada, you will need to collect love scrolls. Start collecting scrolls at the dungeons in the next time challenges. By obtaining 5 scrolls, you'll be able to unlock the Yamada event and get Yamada. And as you can see, as of the time recording this video, there's 2 days left and 11 hours. And if you look at the right hand side of the Yamada picture, you can see Griffix, you can see gold, you can see gems, and you can see more gold. So as many of you already realized, the Griffix, he symbolizes the current monster dungeon, and then there was a gold dungeon, and it appears there's also going to be a gem dungeon where you're going to be able to get scrolls, and in the current Gold Fever event, the time challenge, you can get, well, most of you probably already have it, a love scroll, and this depends on your level. For me at my level, I need to collect 100 million gold to be able to get my love scroll, and so there I have it. And going back to the dungeons, I believe you were able to get 2 love scrolls from Monster Dungeon, and then 1 love scroll from the Gold Dungeon. And if you do math, 1 plus 1 plus 2, that's only 4. So no one, and I repeat, no one should have 5 scrolls right now. And I don't believe there's one in the Dungeon of Books. And I think a few people are confused about this, and they think there should be a scroll in here. But no, keep in mind, in the picture, it showed a gem dungeon, not a Dungeon of Books. They're 2 different things. So I imagine maybe in 9 hours and 36 minutes, or maybe after the Dungeon of Books, there'll be a gem dungeon. It'll be soon. It'll be as soon as the time challenge ends, because when the Gold Fever ends, they'll be introducing the new time challenge, which is Runes Lord. So possibly in that event, you'll have a chance to get a love scroll, and then we'll get more dungeons. So I saw a few people commenting and asking, like, why am I only getting 4 scrolls? There should be 5 scrolls. Keep in mind, the event isn't going to disappear. We still have 2 days before the event is finished, so you have plenty of time to get more love scrolls. And I also imagine they'll maybe even possibly sell some chests where you have a chance to get love scrolls. At the same time, it's kind of hard to think they would do that just because it's so easy to get love scrolls. But what I want to get across to everyone is to not worry if you only have 4 love scrolls, because there's plenty of time to get more love scrolls. They just need to give us the opportunity. They need to give us a chance at the next time challenge event, or they need to give us a chance in the next dungeon, which will probably be the gem dungeon, and maybe they might throw some in it in the runes dungeon. And also keep in mind that this is just to unlock the Yamada event. You're not getting Yamada for free. Once again, this is very synonymous to the Ingenica event, so I want to make sure people don't get confused. You're not necessarily getting a free monster, but you're getting a free event if you happen to collect the scrolls, and you only need 5 of them, so I think it's pretty easy to do. And so now that that's out of the way, I want to talk about Yamada. And so to do that, we need to move on to monsterwiki.com, and this is Yamada in all his glory in his baby form. I absolutely love the monster design. I think it's one of the best monster designs that's ever been made. His teenage form is also great. His adult form is also really great. I love the weapons he has, the wings, everything about this monster I love. In terms of design, the baby form especially, I'm telling you, we need a fountain of youth to be able to have our monsters in their baby forms, or teenage forms if we prefer. Like seriously, how cool would it be to have a level 100 baby Yamada? That would be amazing. But anyhow, enough about that, let's take a look at his stats. His power isn't anything too amazing, and really that doesn't matter, it shouldn't be. His life, this is quite tanky, and his speed, this is a speed that a lot of top tier deniers used to have. Now the new go-to base speed is 3498, but this monster isn't a denier, he's not an attacker, he's a pure supportive monster. As for his trait, it is hardened. He has a 20% less accuracy against all negative effects. I personally think this is the best trait to have if you're not one of those unique monsters that has like Bulwark or Tough, or some of the new traits being released that is like hardened plus something else like the demon trait. You're hardened essentially, and you're also immune to burning and ignition, which is pretty cool. He's going to be in the Winged book and the Good Legions book. And as for relics, he can hold the Essence Relic and the Trap Relic. And considering that this monster is a supportive monster, the fact that he can hold the Essence Relic is really significant, because a lot of the Essence Relics, take a look at the Great Healing Essence. When the turn ends, if wearer's life is below 50%, heals all allies by X amount of points. Or if you happen to have the Diamond Essence, when the wearer dies, revives wearer with 14k life, or it depends on the level, right? Comeback Essence, after being hit, increase all allies maximum life by X amount of points. I think this one would be really great on this monster, because a lot of the skills Yamada has to do with life recovery or life regeneration. And you can also hold the Trap Relic, and the Trap Relic, I guess, is just a really great way to say gotcha to the enemy. The Pestilence Trap decreases all the enemy's maximum life by a certain amount of points. Depending if an enemy has a negative effect, they can lose some stamina, some strength. And so for this monster, probably the best trap you could put is the Oblation Trap. When this monster takes a hit and if his life falls below 50%, he removes X amount of stamina from the enemy monsters. And even if your life does fall below 50%, doesn't matter, this monster has a lot of healing skills, so he could easily recover. And so anyhow, let's take a look at some of his skills. Smokescreen, 75 damage to all of the enemy monsters. In my personal opinion, this is just awful for this monster. I don't understand why they gave this monster an attack ultimate, when first of all, his power isn't high and he's a support monster. He has healing skills. You would think that his ultimate, well, first of all, it's called Smokescreen. You would think that it applies blind or total blind to the enemy monsters, Or you would think that because this monster is supportive, you would think that he heals all of the enemies to like 100%, maybe provides a shield, maybe 100% and life regeneration, or maybe applies double healing and life regeneration. But unfortunately, it's just deals insane fire damage to all the enemies, which, again, I really don't see a lot of people running a strength rune on this monster. Maybe you might be tempted to go the rainbow build, life, speed, and strength, but personally I think Yamada is going to be more of a team speed holder. You give him 3 team speed, maybe you give him 2 team speed and a team life, a single life so he can stay alive, but I don't see this monster really holding the strength rune, so I'm kind of disappointed with the ultimate skill, Smokescreen. As for skills group 1, we can see a lot of the healing potential. Quick heal costs 22 stamina, has no cooldown, and it heals a monster by 30%. The no cooldown is great because you can never be affected by cooldowns activated. Slow regeneration gives life regeneration to a monster, once again, no cooldown, so you can spam any of these two as much as you want to. And then lastly, he has a little bit of offense with Feather Sword, 35 damage, no cooldown, so you can spam any of these skills, but they really aren't that significant, and in fact we should move on over to skills group 2, where he has this, applies evasion to itself, heals allies by 30%, requires cooldown. And so let's just take a moment to appreciate this. It's a really awesome skill, like really awesome. And so this monster, let me just tell you guys, I don't think he's phenomenal like a lot of the monsters we've been seeing, but he is very interesting, and I'm wondering what role is this monster going to have moving forward into the game with everything being released. Because once again, as of right now, I don't think he's phenomenal by any means, but I think he has the potential to go somewhere just because of this. So basically, this monster grants himself evasion, so you're not going to take any damage and you can't get hit by any negative effects. The only thing that the enemy would be able to do with you is drain your stamina, or I think hit you with cooldowns activated. And they could also remove your evasion with the remove positive effects from the enemy monsters. But other than that, you know, they can't daze you, they can't blind, they can't total blind, they can't apply some DOT, some torture status effect like burning, quicksand, whatever. You can't be denied with stun, freeze, or possession. So you're perfectly safe and you heal your whole team by 30%. Let's move on. Heal and hits, deals moderate fire damage, heals all allies by 30%. Another healing skill that also deals a bit of damage to the enemy monster. So you have a 30% heal right here, you have another 30% heal to all of your teammates. Please Focus deals moderate fire damage to an enemy, removes all negative status effects from allies, and applies precision to all allies. And I think this is one of Yamada's strongest points. This skill, combined with the fact that it only has a 1 turn cooldown, is insane to me, because it removes all status effects and applies increased accuracy. Now going back to Yamada's base speed, he has 3, 4, 6, 5. And so if you're in a team setup consisting of a support monster, an attacker, and a deny monster, your deny monster will have 3 strength runes, Yamada will have 3 team speed runes, and then your attacker, he can have 2 team speed and a strength. And most likely Yamada's base speed is going to be faster than your attacker's strength speed, because attackers, they tend to be kind of on the slower end. So Yamada will actually go before your attacker. So this means that you'll be able to use Please Focus and give your attacker increased accuracy. But furthermore, let's say one of the enemy monsters wasn't denied, let's say one of the enemy monsters got a churn in. If that enemy monster was able to apply some sort of negative effect on your team, let's say it was a blind, a daze, a total blind, or maybe they were able to hit you with bleeding and nightmares. Let's say you were facing a Sammy. Well, then your damage output would be reduced by 20% for the bleeding and for the poison. Well, once again, you use Please Focus. Now you get rid of all those negative effects, and your attacker is going to be at his full strength, but he's going to have increased accuracy, so your AoE attack isn't going to miss, or your single attack isn't going to miss. So I think this is super significant. And then 80% of the time also, let's say the enemy denier was faster, he does an AoE deny. Let's say your 2 teammates get denied, but not Yamada because he has hardened, or 20% of the time, right? Once again, going back to your attacker, Please Focus, your attacker isn't denied anymore, and then he has a free attack against the enemy monster. Now once again, that's only going to work 20% of the time, but still, it is one of the many possibilities that could happen. And so this is definitely why I consider Please Focus one of Yamada's strongest suits, and you should definitely run this skill. And I seriously can't believe they only gave us 1 turn cooldown, because if you do Please Focus on 1 turn, on the next turn you can give yourself evasion, and by the next turn you're free to use this again. It's awesome. And of course the precision lasts for 2 turns, so let's say the game was to go on forever, technically your monster should always have precision. It's insane. With that said, moving on over to skills group 3, we have Fly and Free. So another self skill, another evasion skill, and applies regeneration to all of your allies. And so here we have Yamada's second skill, this time giving life regeneration to all of your teammates. And regeneration lasts for 3 turns, 20% life recovery each of those 3 turns, for a grand total of 60%. Now the thing about regeneration, unlike the 30% heal, it's not immediate. So you're going to have to wait for your monster to go before they can recover their life, which is kind of the downside for me. I love the immediate heal. Like, let's say the turn order is Yamada and then the enemy monster. With the 30% life heal, now you know your monsters have 30% more health than they used to. With life regeneration, they're still at their normal life, which means that the enemy monster happens to attack that damaged monster, it could potentially die. And so please take that into consideration when deciding which skill to run. Now of course you could run both of them, that way your Yamada has 2 evasion skills and lots of healing potential for your teammates. He also has Trust the Owl. This one is really interesting. Deals heavy fire damage to one enemy, applies double healing and damage boost to all allies. The double healing is the interesting thing. I'm not sure why it says healing less minus 100%, but essentially the way I understand it is that instead of healing by 20% with like flying free, Regeneration would actually heal you by 40%. Or if you were to use this skill, instead of healing by 30%, your monsters would heal by 60%. So lots of heal potential. The problem is that you have to set up to do this skill. And in my personal opinion, I don't know if Trust the Owl is really worth it. The double healing sounds really nice, but just the fact that you have to set up and then heal the next turn, that's what I don't like. Because if you take a look at his skills group 2, for example, this is an immediate 30% heal, and then heal to hit is an immediate 30% heal. Difference is that one of these skills will give you evasion, which protects you for 1 turn, and the other skill deals some sort of damage, even if it's just a little, 40 damage. So that's still 60% heal, and that takes 2 turns to accomplish. Whereas with Trust the Owl, sure you deal 45 damage, you set up double healing, and on the next turn if you do one of these skills, well then that's a 60% heal. But the main difference is that the initial first turn you got that immediate 30% heal, whereas with Trust the Owl you don't get any immediate heal. You have to wait for the second turn to benefit, unless you have other teammates that can do healing skills. So I'm a little iffy on this, and I'm also worried what is going to happen if you get hit with a negate healing. Not a negate healing, a negative healing, in where you actually lose life instead of recover life. And so that's my personal thought on Trust the Owl, but I want to hear what you guys think. So let me know in the comments below, what do you think about Trust the Owl? And then the last skill we have is called Healing Heat. 19 stamina, 2 turn cooldown, deals 40 damage, and it's life regeneration to all of your teammates. So this monster is cool, right? He has Flying Free and Medevac, which apply evasion, and then do either regeneration or life heal. And then he has Heal the Hits and Healing Heat, which essentially just do the same thing without the evasion. And so yeah, like I said earlier, he's a very, very interesting monster. I don't think he's phenomenal by any means, I want to make that point clear. I do love his design, and I do think he's very interesting, and I'm wondering what roles he's going to have in the future Monster Legends. Because I seriously think that this monster can help you out in a lot of tough situations. The fact that he has so much healing potential, the fact that Please Focus is a one-turn cooldown that removes negative effects and grants your monster's position, and the fact that this monster is essentially going to be acquirable by most players, I really feel that if you're like in an underdog situation where you're fighting ranked monsters with high level runes, I think this monster can definitely help you win some of those battles. But again, that's just my personal opinion, and it might be biased just because of how much I love the monster design. But anyhow, those are my thoughts on Yamada, and that's all I had to say about getting scrolls. Don't panic if you only have 4 scrolls, you only should have 4 scrolls, and that's going to be it. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this monster in the comments below, so don't be shy, please share away. With that being said, I'm Army Gaming, thank you all for watching once again, and I will see you guys next time.